I want to know, do we have chest bump depth? Do we have depth to spread right? We got him.
To Jackson, alley-oop, foot sack, and we've got a second tackle.
Hello again, Irish fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Notre Dame Basketball with Mike Brey. I'm Jack Nolan, and Coach, just one game to talk about this week, a huge win over Louisville.
Great win for us to come back and hold serve at home, and I thought our defense, Jack, in the second half was really a key.
I know you're so proud of the leadership and the development of Demetrius Jackson. It's hard to believe it's his first, but this week he won his first ACC Player of the Week.
And a very well-deserved honor by Demetrius. He was flat out fabulous against Louisville. We had a hard time scoring in the first half against a good defensive team. He kept us in it, and then he kind of involved his teammates in the second half for us to get the win.
Lots of highlights to show you. When we come back, we'll break down all of those highlights of Notre Dame's victory over 13th ranked Louisville. Plus,
coming up on Inside Notre Dame Basketball.
I think I have one of the best backcourts in the country. They don't get talked about maybe as much as other backcourts, but they're both winners. They both can score the ball.
Our defense has to be the story, and that goes for our rebounding. That's how we finish it, all right? 1, 2, 3. Woo! How was that? That wasn't bad. Good to see you, boy.
Inside Notre Dame Basketball with Mike Brey is presented by TireRack.com and brought to you by Team Notre Dame partners Sprint, Coke Zero, Under Armour, and Gatorade. Inside Notre Dame Basketball is also sponsored by Delta Airlines, proud to be the official airline of Notre Dame Athletics, Bank of America, Canon, Xfinity, Meyer, Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, SiriusXM Satellite Radio, and UPS.
Louisville hit you with a typical Louisville defensive effort. They were really suffocating you in the first half. It was hard for virtually anybody on the floor for your team to get shots except one guy, Demetrius Jackson. 20 points, career-high tying 5 threes in the first half. He kept you in that game.
He flat out kept us in the game, Jack, and it was good to see him kind of get back in his offensive rhythm as far as shooting the basketball. He hadn't shot it well in previous games. I thought he really shot it well in practice, and you're hoping a good shooting night like that jumpstarts you for the rest of the season.
It was a close first half until the final minute. Some tough things happened. You fall down by 7 at halftime, by 11 in the second half. But again, and this is becoming a theme, your team never flinched.
I love our poise. We don't panic. We're a confident group. I think in the last week we've gotten mentally and physically tougher, and we really believe we're going to find a way to win. And that starting group is starting to really find a chemistry together on both ends of the floor.
All of your Notre Dame teams have had good guard play. Your great Notre Dame teams have had great guard play. And you're getting that again. Demetrius in the first half. Second half, Steve Vastoria steps up with 15 points.
I think I have one of the best backcourts in the country. They don't get talked about maybe as much as other backcourts, but they're both winners. They both can score the ball. They both play the whole game. It's hard to take them out of the game. They both can defend, and they really do set a tone for the rest of our group.
At the end of January, Zach August admitted publicly that he needed to be more consistent. Well, in his last 5 games, he's averaging 10 rebounds, just under 16 points, and he got his 14th double-double against Louisville.
Flat out setting the tone for us on that front line, and you add him and Bonzi together, it's a tag team of physicality. But Zach is playing like a senior. We've had a tradition here of seniors having great years and having great Februaries and Marches, and he is in one of those modes right now.
You're up 2 late in the second half, and he comes up with a gargantuan block that really set the crowd on fire.
Yeah, and he is such an emotional guy. I think his energy, especially at home, kind of gets our crowd into it, gets our student body into it. But his toughness, physicality, and energy is really setting a nice tone for our team.
3 straight wins over ranked teams have really put you on a path to do special things. How has your team gotten to this point where it appears to me they now believe they will win every game regardless of what happens in the game?
We've come such a long way. I remember the end of the Indiana game. Indiana made that run, and we didn't believe, and we were hoping maybe we could win, and we were waiting for Indiana to give it to us. Certainly they did not. This group has changed so much since mid-December, where they feel they can find a way to get it done with offensive plays, and where we've really improved, Jack, is the last 8 minutes of games, how we are defending and rebounding.
Folks, we've just given you the analytical look at Notre Dame's 71-66 victory over 13th-ranked Louisville. When we come back, we'll take you into the emotional side of the game, including some of Coach's huddle on this week's Irish Access. Most pundits and fans looked at this year's showdown between 13th-ranked Louisville and Notre Dame as a battle between Notre Dame's top-ranked offense and Louisville's always tough and suffocating defense. But as you're about to find out on this week's edition of Irish Access, Coach Brey had a different idea of what he wanted the game to be.
For whatever reason, this is just a rivalry that has really taken off, where both teams seem to play at incredibly high levels whenever they take the floor together.
Our defense has to be the story. Our defense has to be the story, and that goes for our rebounding. That's how we finish it, all right? 1, 2, 3.
So Louisville's going to have a chance to score first in this game. Onuaku, jump hook brilliantly over Augustin. It's 2-0.
Lewis and Lee were drawn a little bit there. Great baseline out of bounds here. Just a little quick hitter.
Inbound to Jackson for 3. It's good, and he gets fouled.
Rebound now by Adele. Now an alley-oop for Stockman, and they score it at the buzzer. And the Irish find themselves in a bit of a hole. Now, they've been here before. They were down 9 against Carolina.
It's going to come down to us digging in, scratching out loose balls, and rebounding like we did last Saturday in the last 20 minutes. Come on now. I know we can get another 20. We're good. Another 20.
Jackson with Mahmoud on him. Step back 3. Got it! He saw the mismatch. He knew he'd get the shot, and he knocks it down. Fastoria puts it on the floor. Fastoria drives the lane. Fastoria reverse layup. Good! 1-point game.
Big possession for Louisville.
Mitchell drives right side. Step back jumper blocked by Beecham. Colson gets the rebound. Notre Dame can take the lead for the first time in this half. Jackson between his legs. Jackson around the screen from August. Bounce past August. Notre Dame leads 62-61 on the two-handed jam by Zach August. Timeout, Louisville.
Way to be boys, baby. Way to be boys, all right? Right? Up you got our 6-man behind you. They're getting rattled a little bit. That energizes us down there. So we're hard showing 21. Everybody down to rebound the ball.
Denying Trey Lewis. Blocked by Colson.
Off to Jackson now. Ahead to Beecham. Beecham running 3. Got it! Snyder top of the key. Snyder left side of the lane. Gets to the hoop. Blocked by Zach August.
Mike Brey said we had a great 48 hours last Saturday and Monday with wins over North Carolina and Clemson. And for the Irish, it's now a great week.
Rick Pitino will go to 0-5 as Louisville's coach in Purcell Pavilion. How sweet it is.
We talked about the story being our defense, not our offense versus their defense. The story in the second 20 minutes was our defense. We guarded, and the other thing, which we really have developed starting last Saturday, is we're just going to get you eventually. We have been so good and developed into such assassins and cruel competitors when it comes time to come down and really beat us. It's a great trait to have as we get into March, okay? Yes, sir. Big time doing it together, man. Great job. Let's bring it in right here, all right? Father, thank you for helping us play together as a unit this afternoon and keeping us away from injury. Through your name we pray. Amen. 1, 2, 3. Yes, sir.
This is Coach's 350th win at Notre Dame. I'm not sure there have been a lot any better.
350 wins at Notre Dame. When you took this job 16 years ago, did you ever think not only that you would be here this long time to coach at one place, but that you would have this kind of success.
I remember in the opening press conference in July of 2000, answering a question saying, you know, I hope I can retire here. I hope I'm good enough that I can stick around. And I have been very fortunate to be here 16 years. It's hard to grasp at 350 wins. When I think about that, I think about the great players that we've had, the great leadership that I've had. And I have had great assistant coaches who are teachers and developers of young men. It's a great fit for me. I'm still honored on a daily basis after 16 years to be the basketball coach at Notre Dame, and hope I can hang around longer.
And you have really committed to what this place is all about. Maybe more so than at any school in the country. You have to recruit not just great athletes, but great students. And if they aren't a great student, you can't bring them in. Do you think that commitment to what this place is has helped you have success?
No question, Jack. I mean, when we recruit kids, my theme is I want you to be able to compete in the classroom as much as you compete on the basketball court. If you can't do that, you probably aren't a fit for us. After being here a while, I know what is a great fit for this university. I believe in our mission. I think because of our mission and our standards, it attracts a special young man that I love coaching.
With postseason basketball tournaments right around the corner, it means that professional baseball players are heading to their spring training camps in Arizona and Florida. I have a pretty big baseball fan with me here today, and last summer he got a great Major League Baseball experience. We'll show it to you right after this timeout. Last summer, Coach Brey got the call to throw out the first pitch at a Cubs game at Wrigley Field, an opportunity he grabbed with gusto.
I've thrown it out at the South Bend Cubs a couple times, and I feel I've done well enough to move up. And I got the call the other day that I got a chance to throw it out in the bigs, and I'm very excited. Can somebody just have a gun behind there? I feel I'm going to throw around 90. Do you have any pine tar? I'm going to put a little right here. We got it. Thanks, bud. Good luck. Good luck. What do you think? Jump shot. Basketball. Let me see your form. Let me see your. Oh, I like it. I like it. Where the hell is Joe Madden? I want to give him some advice. Coach, how you doing? How are you? We're always stealing from each other on how to lead, right, coaches?
That's how it works. Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
Pennsylvania.
What town?
Hazleton.
My parents were from Lake Heighton.
Get out.
Coal country, man. You're a coal cracker.
I drive it through there all the time, man.
You're a coal cracker. We'll get you over for a ACC game and play North Carolina or somebody. I'll track you down. Good luck, Coach. Yeah, good to see you. Coach. Going out. All right, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome University of Notre Dame men's basketball coach Mike Brey.
Woo! Woo! How was that? That wasn't bad. Good to see you, boy. Good luck. It's just fun. You know, we start our basketball camp on Sunday. Summer school starts Monday. So, kind of back working and back doing our thing, but it was neat to get over here. You know, I love getting over to Chicago to kind of hang out.
Not your average celebrity first pitch. It was a high and tight fastball.
You know, I got that thing over, but what helped me was Pat Connaughton's coaching. I made sure I called him. He said, Coach, pitch from the rubber, do not move up, and don't you dare bounce it. So I threw it high. I did get it in there, and of course my shoulder was sore the next day. But what a great experience, Jack, to be there on the field at Wrigley, talking to the Cubs manager who's a big hoops fan. It was just a fun day.
I know you grew up an Orioles fan, so what part of your childhood were you reliving?
You know, probably the glory years of Boog Powell, Frank Robinson, Paul Blair, Brooks Robinson. Those were my guys. I remember going up to Baltimore with my dad to watch World Series games, and I'm still a Big O's guy.
When we come back, we'll ask this week's Ask Coach Brey question, and A.J. Burgett runs the Fast Break. It's time now for this week's Ask Coach Brey question, presented by the experts at TireRack.com. This week's question comes from longtime Irish fan Doug Buell of Michigan City, Indiana. Coach, I've noticed that free throws are quite a weapon this year. Is this why the team seems to be driving to the basket more this season?
No question about it. I think we've worked in driving the ball more, taking advantage of the new rule of their cutting down on physical play on the perimeter, and I am really pleased with how it's grown to be a weapon. We couldn't couldn't make a free throw in November and December to win a game, but now we're second in the league in free throw percentage, and we got 3 guys in the top 10 in individual percentage. It's a great weapon for us.
Folks, A.J. Brigette has always been a great leader for this basketball team. It's one of the reasons why he was named a captain this season, and he regained his role as a leader on the floor when he made his first start in nearly 2 years and helped lead the Irish to a victory over Wake Forest. Now, a sprained ankle has caused him to miss the last 3 games, but he is back on the practice floor ready to answer Coach's call to come into a game or to run the fast break. First car you ever drove?
BMW.
Favorite musical group or artist?
50 Cent.
Who was your role model?
My father.
One thing the public would be surprised to learn about you.
I hate Tom Knight.
What did you do on your first date?
Went roller skating.
Favorite thing to do when relaxing?
Hanging with Matt Farrell.
Favorite part of practice?
Warming up.
Worst part of practice?
Talking to Coach Slow.
Best part of your game?
Free throws.
Part of your game you need to work on?
Sliding my feet.
One thing you always hear from Coach Brey in practice?
Veteran guy.
Assistant coach who is most like Coach Brey?
Blanas.
Player on the team most like you?
Steve.
Player on the team that has surprised you the most this season?
Rex Luger.
Best defender on the team?
Matt Farrell.
Best leaper on the team?
Chad Holtz.
Best dresser on the team?
Steve Astoria.
Worst dresser on the team?
Zach August.
Freestyle swimming race 1 lap, who wins, you or Coach Brey?
Coach Brey.
Well, you know, we shot that right after he went back into the starting lineup, so I was pretty sure he was going to give you that. But what about giving Steve Astoria best dress? Steve will love that.
He handled that like a real veteran. He was playing with a lot of guys there. I'm really proud of AJ. He has been a leader from day one. We had him back in the lineup against Wake Forest, and he sparked us to a win. Tough luck with an injury, but he's healthy now, and we need him for the stretch run.
How important is it to know for sure now that the stretch run, postseason, you can count on him to give you good minutes? Because he's looked great since he's returned to practice.
No question, Jack. I mean, he's back. He's healthy. This is a senior who knows our system. We saw the dividends in the Wake Forest game here. It's just good to have another body ready to roll.
A tough stretch of 3 straight road games begins with a Saturday night contest at Georgia Tech. We'll preview those games right after this timeout. Tough road trip against 3 teams. All of them are behind you in the standings, but all of them can beat you.
No question. And, you know, records don't matter when you play on the road in league play. Georgia Tech, a physical team that's going to pound us inside, and they've got 2 guys that are playing really well right now and scoring it. On the road at Wake Forest, a fast group that plays well at home. And then at Florida State, the biggest team in the league. So we are on the road. You're going to have to come together. I hope we can have that same personality we had in Greenville, South Carolina against Clemson.
And folks, we'll actually be coming to you next week from Florida State. 3 games, 8 days. We'll have all the highlights next week of the Georgia Tech and Wake Forest games. Until then, for Coach Brey, I'm Jack Nolan. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Irish.
Inside Notre Dame Basketball with Mike Brey is presented by TireRack.com and brought to you by Team Notre Dame partners Sprint, Coke Zero, Under Armour, and Gatorade. Inside Notre Dame Basketball is also sponsored by Delta Airlines, proud to be the official airline of Notre Dame Athletics, Bank of America, Canon, Xfinity, Meyer, Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, SiriusXM Satellite Radio, and UPS.